We're jumping straight into the health check with Dr. Bhagat. And today, like I said, we are covering liver disease. Good morning, Dr. B.
Morning, Bill. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing this morning?
Good. How's your week been?
Hey, Dr. B, the week has been really hectic. A lot of things have happened. And honestly, I'm just trying to keep a brave face.
Well, let's move on and talk about liver disease now.
Yeah,
we're doing the intestinal series now, and today's talk is about the liver disease. Zoo, it's important to remember that many ancient cultures regarded the liver as the organ which really was the most vital organ in your tummy. It was the factory, it was the detoxifier, it was the thing that actually made things function. And if you look into Chinese medicine and some of the ancient Indian medicine, the first thing they do is to check for signs of the quality of liver disease because they're obsessed with it. And we for centuries in Western medicine couldn't figure out why, but we now begin to understand that the liver literally is the factory of your organ. We talk about detoxing medications and detoxing supplements, but the detox in your system is your liver. It detoxes everything that you take. If you overdose on something, your liver is there to detox. If you take too much alcohol, your liver is there to detox. If you eat the wrong foods, your liver is there to detox. So literally, it is the factory and the machinery that makes your system function, and that's why the Chinese particularly are obsessed with the liver function. And it's an organ basically the size of a football. So it sits under your rib cage on the right-hand side of your tummy. And
Excuse me?
Like I say, it's essential for digesting food and ridding body of toxic substances. Can you hear me?
Yes, no, I can. I was just saying excuse me to the fact that you said it's the size of a football.
Yeah, it's a pretty big organ. You can't see it because it rides up under your diaphragm on the right-hand side. When a doctor says you can actually feel your liver, that means it's really large. It's actually bigger than the size of a football. And it really is, it's a remarkable organ. So it's one of the few organs in the body that actually regenerates. If you knacker your liver, if you assault it with excessive alcohol, by suspending the alcohol or whatever foods you're doing, it can actually regenerate. It's one of the few organs that can regenerate. And the trouble today is, in the old days, the commonest causes of liver disease were infectious diseases like hepatitis A, hepatitis B, hepatitis C. Now, believe it or not, two of the commonest causes of liver disease are one, abusing particular medications, and the classic one, you'll be shocked to hear, is Panado or paracetamol. People using excessive amounts of paracetamol,
yes.
absolutely, can actually cause liver poisoning. So excessive use of paracetamol can load your liver because liver is the organ that removes the Panado from your system. So too much use of Panado can actually cause liver toxicity and liver failure. And the second one is, rather than alcohol, which goes number 3, is actually fat. So if you're eating a lot of sugary foods, we come back to the same old stuff. If you're eating a lot of sugary foods like bread and rice and pasta and palici and margarinas and madongi, all that mess is converted into liver fat, and that fat begins to seep into your liver and blocks your liver function and causes what's called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And it is the most rapidly rising liver disease on the planet, and people are actually dying more from fatty-related liver disease than alcohol these days. So this is a sign of our times.
Yes.
Now, what are the symptoms of liver disease? The symptoms of liver disease, they don't always cause noticeable signs and symptoms, but they include things like your eyes look a little bit yellowish. We call it jaundice. You get a little bit of tummy swelling, pain under your right upper quadrant of your tummy. Sometimes your legs swell a bit. You get an itchy skin, and what happens is your poo becomes very pale because the liver is responsible for producing what we call in Tswana khala, and this khala is bile, and this bile is made by the liver. So if the liver is not producing bile, which is a digestive juice, the poo becomes really sort of almost clay-like. So if the quality of your poo changes, if your urine begins to darken, you get fatigue, nausea, vomiting, loss of appetite, tending to bruise easily because the liver is the factory that manufactures chemicals that stop you from bruising. So if you notice that you just bump yourself and you start bruising, maybe your liver. So that's when you need to see a doctor. When you need to see a doctor, because when you actually find that you're getting fatigue, you're getting this sort of yellowish tinge under your eyelids, you're itching, you're feeling nauseous and vomiting, that may be the sign that you're having liver disease. Now, there are also other rare causes which I don't like to go into because they're not very common, but they include, of course, the liver cancer, cancer of your bile duct, and the other viral infections. We've seen hepatitis or inflammation of the liver occur with COVID as well. But these are unusual causes. The most common ones are lifestyle issues, which include, as we say, fat, alcohol, and some of the drugs that you may not be aware of cause it. Now, somebody's asked, Chair, what can we do about liver disease, Naka? Can we actually prevent it? Yes, well, you prevent excessive consumption of alcohol, and by that, believe it or not, for women, it's not more than one glass of wine a day, not more than that. For men, not more than two.
One glass, Dr. B.
Yeah, well, that's a good one. It depends on the size of the glass, you're right. So, yeah, I know you could get a really long glass and then say that's one glass of wine.
Yes.
Somebody's asked, can the liver repair itself? Yes, it can. It's one of the few organs that can repair itself. It's very resilient and capable of regenerating itself. Each time your liver filters alcohol, some of the liver cells die, and it can actually regenerate if you don't stress it too much. So that's really important. Somebody's asked here, can liver disease affect bowel movements? Yes. The stools are pale, like I say. You may feel a bit of constipation. You may feel a bit of bloating. If you get black tarry stool, like almost pitch black, it means you're bleeding in the tummy, and that may be a problem. Somebody's asked here, this is the same guy that asked about bananas every time. He asked, are bananas good for liver disease? The answer is no. Bananas help liver disease. Now the guy has come up with a coffee argument. Is coffee good for liver? Yes, actually a large new study shows that coffee of all kinds lowers the risk of liver disease and fatty disease, but it has to be proper coffee. Somebody's asked, is green tea good for liver? I think people are listening to us. Yes, green tea, ginger tea, chamomile tea, all these are antioxidants, particularly turmeric, are good for you. Somebody's asked, is honey good for liver? Honey's been associated with improved liver health by reducing all the oxidation that occurs in the liver. One more question here, is lemon good for the liver? Yeah, I guess so. Lemon's good for everything, but not necessarily for the liver. Somebody's asked, are liver transplants available in Botswana? The answer is no. No transplants currently we undertake in Botswana. So prevention is better than cures. So these are really important issues. Somebody's asked, do liver diseases run in families? Yes, you can get an inherited condition, where the body attacks the liver itself. It's called an autoimmune disease, where the liver begins to attack itself for no reason that we can understand, and you eventually end up in liver failure. So that's really important. So again, somebody's asked, what are the most important warning signs of liver disease? And that is jaundice, nausea, pale stools, bruising easily, vomiting, loss of appetite. These are important problems in terms of liver disease. So that's liver disease in a nutshell. Do you have any questions?
Well, the one that I have here is, I think it's the only one, well, two. What are the consequences of your liver failing? Like, you ignoring it?
Big issues. I mean, basically, when you eat, everything goes through your liver. Your digestive processes occur mostly through the liver and the organ we're going to talk about next week, which is called the pancreas. And then you literally cannot function without a liver. With kidneys, if the kidneys fail, you can actually dialyze, but there's nothing to replace the liver. So you actually have to go for a liver transplant, or literally, unfortunately, you perish. The life expectancy when you're diagnosed with liver failure is literally 5 years. So it's worse than most cancers. Somebody's asked you, what foods may help heal the liver? Well, coffee is one of the best beverages you can take to promote liver health, because it's a very powerful antioxidant. Certain teas are good for you. Grapefruit, believe it or not, is good for you as well. And some of those small berries the raspberries, the blueberries, the cranberries.
Blueberries, yes.
Packed full of antioxidants. And beetroot juice is good for you. And also some of the cruciform vegetables, which contain what are called sulfurofuranes. These are antioxidants like broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower. Those are actually very good for you as well. So that's important. One more question here. Somebody's asked, is milk good for liver? Not necessarily. And many of our population are actually lactose intolerant. So don't go for things that actually make your stomach worse. Somebody's asked you, can I detox my liver in 3 days? People look for a quick fix. There's no such thing. But, if you want to generally detox, use a detox tea we've talked about. We've talked about supplements such as antioxidants. Some people talk about milk thistle. This is an old ancient remedy that is basically an antioxidant. Try and avoid sugary and fatty foods. And of course, the biggest issue in our country is alcohol. It really is something that poisons the system. It poisons the heart. It poisons the liver. It poisons most systems. So be careful about that. Somebody's asked, what herbs can damage the liver? Well, there are lots of herbs that can damage the liver, so make sure and watch out for chemicals that you have that are called herbs that have no labels on them. And unfortunately, many of these are Chinese products, which you don't understand the language. So if you don't understand what you're taking, please don't take it. they may cause more harm than good. One more question before we go to, is onions good for the liver? Onions have sulfur-containing amino acids, and they aid in detoxifying the liver. So particularly red and white onions are actually very good for you raw. They're very, very good for liver detox. So that's liver disease in a nutshell. Prevention is better than cure. We don't do transplants. Remember, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, loss of appetite, and a pale poop may suggest that you have liver disease.
All right, well, Dr. B, I don't know if you want to let the listener know what we're talking about next week, but I really believe that the liver is one place that Botswana should concentrate on a lot.
Yeah, we should. We're seeing a lot more of it soon now, particularly with, obesity rising, people eating sort of junky food that contains too much sugar and therefore fat. And the liver, well, you just have to scan the liver and you can just see a lot of mahura just sitting on top of it. So it is something that we're going to be going to cause problems. Statistics in Botswana, in South Africa say that 40 to 50% of black women in Johannesburg are overweight, and we're not far from that city, and we probably eat the same crap.
All right, Dr. B.
Next week we're going to talk about the pancreas, the organ that causes diabetes, the organ that causes lots of conditions, and so the next week is the pancreas. So I look forward to it.
All right, Dr. B, I hope you have a great Sunday, and I'm sure the listener and I have really, really held on to the gems that you gave us today.
Thanks, Zoo. Take care.
You too. Bye. So that was Dr. Bhagat on the health check as we covered, liver disease. And next week, we're going to be talking about the pancreas. So listen up and be ready. We're fixing our bodies, eh?
Health Check was proudly brought to you by First Capital Bank. Belief comes first.